Hey, how's it going? And welcome back to the Be Positive, Stay Positive podcast. My name is Nat, and I'm here for you. Had to take a little time Friday to spend the weekend with the family. Sorry about that, but I am back. Happy Monday. And we've got a shout out. We've got a couple of shout outs today. We got a shout out to Amber in Pompano Beach, Florida. Hey, Amber, how's it going? And also Jason Hopkins from Sydney, Australia, from Down Under. Hey, Jason, how's it going? Thanks for listening to the podcast. I'd like to let you guys know that I am now on iHeart Radio. It took quite a while, but you can now find the Be Positive podcast on iHeart Radio. You can go down to the description and somewhere in this podcast, and there's a link in there somewhere. Well, I got a letter in the mail. I love when I get these emails from you because it really gives me a little insight to what I'm dealing with and what I'm trying to talk about. And this one comes from an anonymous person. So I'm going to go ahead and read this email, but I'm going to break it down because there's quite a few different topics in this email, and maybe this applies to you or someone you know. So let me start with the email. It starts off, it says, "Hi Nat, I've just recently discovered your podcast on Stitcher and I'm reaching out in hopes that you can help me. Through the couple of podcasts I've listened to, I think I struggle with so much going on in my head. I feel I'm a pretty negative person and I hate it. My thoughts drive me to think so negatively about everything, my relationships, school, etc. I find myself struggling with being positive in negative situations. Can we get out of all of them? We can try, but there's always people who are going to try to bring you down. I don't know what to do in situations like that. How do I shut it off, if that makes sense?" Well, yes, absolutely, it does make sense. It's hard to shut it off sometimes if you're in a negative situation. And people are always going to try to bring you down. They're not going to feed you positive. It's natural for human beings to be negative because they're looking at, that's a defense mechanism. So if you're around people that are making you feel negative, then you're going to feel that way. But I do want to go back to a couple things that you said in your email. It says, "I feel I'm a pretty negative person and I hate it. My thoughts drive me to think so negatively about everything." Well, you said it right there. Your thoughts are driving you to think negatively about everything. You're choosing to think negatively. You're looking at the bad side of stuff. So it's the way you think, what you think about, how you think. And if you're thinking, oh, this person's going to screw me over, or they're going to lie to me, or I'm not going to get that job, or this person's going to cheat on me, or they're going to steal from me. If you're always thinking those thoughts, your negative is going to keep coming and keep coming. So how do you get away from that? You start focusing on the positive more. So let me back up a little bit and explain exactly what is negativity. It's an overall attitude that you may have about something, whether it's an actual problem or not. Negativity refers to a certain way you think, the way you see things, you label people, the way you describe your feelings about what you see. The problem here is negativity is in your mind. It's not real. Our minds have a tendency to default to the negative and look at things in negative ways. That means that people often expect the worst unless they are able to think positively, right? People who are negative are always skeptical and they always tend to reject any advice. So if you are not taking advice from other people or listening to other people, or you're just totally negative all the time, and skeptical, then your life is not going to get positive. So think about this. Do you see what the old glass is, half full or half empty? Do you see the glass as half empty or half full? If you think in a positive way, you'll always see the glass as being half full because you're looking at the bright side of things. But if you're looking for the negative and the skepticism, you're going to see the glass as half empty because you are focusing on the weakness of the glass rather than its strengths. So whenever a challenge comes up, if you're a negative person, you will always default to predicting a negative outcome before it's even happened. In your mind, you're thinking negative. Being a negative thinker is also, you're a pessimist also. So if you're constantly thinking of what can go wrong or what is bad, you're never going to get out of that cycle. So when a situation comes up, you have to think about what good could come out of that. Don't think about what bad could come out of it. You get into a car, oh, I could crash, or I could fall down the steps, going down the steps, or I can get in an elevator and it could break. Sure, if you're constantly thinking of all the negative stuff, some of it is bound to come true. Okay, now let me get back to the letter before I get too far off track. Back to the letter. My brother is an addict, and I hear about his situations, and I just think it's so negative. But he's my brother. My boyfriend has a sister, and we do not get along at all. So every time I'm at the house, I can just feel the tension and all the things she says about me. I know it's common sense to just ignore it or not let it bother me, but I'm outspoken and I always want to say something. But out of the respect for our relationship and for my boyfriend, I keep my mouth shut and I feel like I resent her. Okay, now let's talk about it for a second, this part. Your brother is an addict and you hear about his situations and I think it's so negative. Well, yeah, he's an addict, but he's your brother. So instead of thinking negatively about what's going on in his life, saying, oh, he's ruining his life, find something positive. Help your brother. Then listen to what he has to say. Talk to him and be there for him. And you might feel like you're talking to a wall or you're not getting through, but never give up on your family. Okay? And if his situation is so negative, why is it negative? Is it negative because everybody is shutting him out because he's an addict and they're not trying to help? Or is it maybe he doesn't want the help and you're not going to get him to change unless he wants to help himself? So if your brother is an addict and he has a serious problem, as his sibling, you need to help and be there for your brother. All right, now let's move on to your boyfriend has a sister and we do not get along at all. That's okay. You don't have to get along with everybody in the world. And you can just feel the tension and all the things she says about you. Well, you feel the tension because you're letting it get to you. You're letting what other people say and think about you bother you. That doesn't matter because whatever anybody else thinks about you or says about you does not affect your life directly. It only affects your life if you let it affect your life. So when people say something about you that's bad, you know in your heart that you're good. And if what they're saying is bothering you, then maybe there's something about yourself that you haven't faced that you don't like. And that's where you need to look inward. You need to look at yourself inside and find out what it is that is bothering you, that is making you have all this negativity towards everything. Because if a negative person is so negative outwardly to other people, there's a reason they are harboring all that negativity and they're hiding something in their own mind and they're not facing their own hardships and their own shortcomings. So in order to get past the negativity and start being positive, you have to be 100% sure of yourself. You have to know your goals. You have to be confident in yourself and believe in yourself and know that you are a good person. And that way, when you believe that, when you believe deep inside that you are a good person, then no matter what anybody else says, it's not going to affect you because it's their opinion. Now, everybody's allowed an opinion and nobody can force theirs on you. So if someone is making you feel bad by what they're saying, you're letting them make you feel bad. Does that make sense? If you don't let that bother you, if you're confident, if somebody says, wow, your hair looks terrible, you could get in your mind, be like, that person's an idiot. I know my hair looks good. I don't care I don't value your opinion. You have to also think about whose opinion you value. And think about this for a second. Don't take advice from someone who you don't even value their opinion. Okay, that's just a little thing I threw in there. All right, now there's a little bit more to this letter. I want to wrap it up. This is going to be a longer podcast than planned, but I have to get into this. More about the letter. It says, I just think my mind is against me sometimes, really, trying to make me think one way and I really shouldn't. Now, I'm going to stop there. There's more. It says, I don't understand it sometimes. So your mind is against you. That's impossible. Your mind cannot be against you. Why? Because you control your mind. So if you think that your mind is against you, you're against yourself. There's something about you that's deep inside that is making you feel this way and not letting you think the way you really want to think. And I'm going to go back and read that line again. I think my mind is against me sometimes, trying to make me think one way and I really shouldn't. If you know that you shouldn't, then don't. Control your mind. You have the control. Just don't listen to it and put the positive thoughts in place. If your mind is telling you, okay, I'm going to go get a gun and I'm going to rob a bank. Well, either you do that or you don't. You choose not to do things. You choose to do things. You have the strength. It's in you. The strength and the power to make the decisions and control your mind is in you, and you have that. Back to the letter, she tried meditating for the first time, and it was pretty cool. Well, meditation is a really good way to get into your own head and find out what's going on in there and find out why you're so negative towards other people and why you're worried about what so-and-so's sister is saying about you and why you feel when you walk into a room, oh, the room is so tense, these people hate me, or this is that. You're putting all that in your own mind. It's not happening. It's happening in your mind. You're letting it happen. When I walk into a room, I can, if I know everybody or whether I don't, I walk in with confidence because I know who I am. I know where I'm going. Nobody can tell me about myself. First of all, no one can make a suggestion or tell me about myself because they don't have enough information. They have not walked 57 years in my shoes. They have not experienced the things I've experienced. They don't know what's going on in my mind. They don't even know what I'm thinking. So how can they tell me about myself? How can they make me feel bad about myself when they don't even know me? Nobody really knows you but you. And if you're feeling these negative thoughts and can't get control of them, then maybe you need to seek a little bit of more professional help other than podcasts. I'm here to help you every way I can, but if you just can't seem to get a grip on your mind and control your mind, then maybe there's something else going on. But start by looking in the mirror, stare at yourself, look deep into your eyes and look at yourself and think about who you see in that mirror. Maybe you don't have the career you want. Maybe you're not in the relationship that you want right now. Maybe certain things aren't going your way, but it's up to you to change them. And you can do whatever you want. Let me say that again. You can literally do anything you really want to. If you want to put on a tutu and dance down the middle of the highway, you could do that. If you want to kneel instead of standing for the flag, for the Pledge of Allegiance, you could do that. You're free to do whatever you really want to do. And if you want to be positive and you want to say nice things and you want to feel good thoughts, do it. Don't let the negative rule your life. By letting the negative thoughts into your head so much, it really will just saturate your mind with negativity and bring down your health, and you'll be attracted to drama. You're going to have a victim mentality. You're always going to feel depressed. You're going to take everything personal. You're going to dwell on bad news. And it just does not work. When you have your negative thoughts, your brain gets into a fight or flight mode. The stress will make you make hasty decisions without thinking about it. And you need to actually slow down, look at yourself in the mirror, find out who you are and where you're going, and be happy. Be happy with who you are. And when you say to yourself, I'm negative and I hate it. Well, if you hate it so much, first of all, the best part is you realize that you're negative and you realize you don't want to think that way. That is a huge step right there. So now meditate, find out who you are, get your self-confidence level up to where you should be, believe in yourself, and do something different. Maybe take a little vacation from somewhere. Or if people are getting you negative and there's certain environments that are making you feel negative, don't be in those environments as often. Take yourself out of the situation if you can't control your thoughts at that time until you get to a happy place in your mind. Now, that all sounds real easy when you say it, but you can't live in fear. You can't live in fear of who you are. You have to face who you are, accept who you are, and just own up to everything you've done in the past. Realize that it is the past, and your future is from right now forward. So make the change. Think positive thoughts. Whenever you think a negative thought, crush it with a positive thought. Just think of something happy. Think of something positive. Think of something you accomplished. Think of a goal that you want to accomplish. Think about how you can make someone else's day by making them happy. Anything you can do to get away from the negative thought, even if you have to stop and meditate for 5 minutes to shut your mind down and to get quiet. Because when you get quiet in your mind, when you sit and you get quiet and you listen to what's going on in your own mind, you can really find out who you are. And sometimes what you hear and see in your mind's eye isn't always pretty. It's not always what you want, but you have to face it and accept it and make the changes that you'd like to make to change. Whatever changes you'd like to make for your future, make them. The bottom line is you control your mind. Your thoughts dictate your future. If you don't like where you are or how your life is, change your thoughts and change your life. Well, I'm really hoping that helped this person that sent me the email. I'll try to get back to you and respond in a text also and let you know that I'm here for you if you need me. Also, if you got anything that you'd like me to talk about, please feel free to drop me a line through bepositivepodcast.com. Make sure you check us out on iHeart Radio. And for everybody out there, I really appreciate everybody listening all over the world. It's awesome. It's really awesome. The podcast is taking off and you people are making it great for me. And I love to hear your stories. And I really hope that my words are helping you get through the day and put a smile on your face sometimes. All right. That's about it for the Be Positive Podcast. My name is Nat. I think we can all do a little bit better. I'll talk to you later.